YouTube, it is your favorite gamer here, Above Average Cody, coming at you with a video all about what settings, what controller settings you should be focusing on for the best movement you can get here in Halo Infinite. Now, you guys seem to really enjoy me pinpointing the controller settings you should be focusing on for your aim. So today, we're going to do the same exact thing, but for movement. So we're not going to go through and waste all the time talking about every single controller setting. We've done plenty of videos on that, guys. Today, we're going to focus on exactly what settings you should be focusing on to get the best movement, be it your strafe, be it your slides, anything in between, guys. Let's jump right into it. Now, first, it seems most important to talk about the strafe. Everybody wants the fastest possible strafe they can get. Now, let's be honest. We've all been there. It feels like we're strafing in quicksand. It feels like the enemy is just flat out strafing faster than us. I'm going to show you guys what specific controller settings you can focus to hopefully help with that, and I'll give you a little tidbit about the Xbox Elite Series 2 specifically that I've done videos on in the past. But first, you're going to focus on your max input threshold, guys. I love talking about this setting because it is such a difference from 0 to 15, guys. You need to have this setting on 15. Bank it all the way at the end here for the move thumbstick, that is. So you can go all the way to 0, guys, and feel what the strafe feels like. It just takes a little bit of time to get to that max speed, and I'll do my best to show you, but the stick all the way to the left, guys, it's just really hard to show. But trust me, if you try it, you're going to see how slow 0 is, and if you are on 0, I feel terrible for you because you are going to be absolutely baffled when you go to 15 on this movement. If you don't already know, guys, max input threshold is at what point pushing the stick it registers the maximum push, like magnitude, I guess you could say. I don't know what word I'm looking for, guys, but basically when you have it on 15, it will make it so that you don't have to push the stick as far for the controller to be registering the max input. That is why it is called the max input threshold. So with a lower value, you are increasing the threshold, making it so you have to push the stick further for the max input, and obviously the opposite goes for the higher value. Higher value makes it so it registers faster. So you guys saw earlier, and now you're hitting the max speed like practically instantly. There's no slow second there, and you can instantly just slam the stick and hit that strafe, which obviously, guys, strafing, you're changing direction a lot. You're trying to be tricky with the enemy. You're doing the small strafes, the doorway strafes. You're strafing one way, going the other way. So you need to react as quickly as possible with that max input threshold all the way up. You can really do that on no matter any controller you run. Now, the other thing, guys, not as big of a deal, but it is worth mentioning for movement, guys. Your move thumbstick center dead zone. You want this as low as you could possibly get it without stick drift. You'll see I have it on 5.5, not 0, guys. That is because I get stick drift, probably because I have my axial dead zone on 0. If I move this up, I could probably get the center dead zone to 0 without any stick drift, but we're only going to focus on center dead zone to make it easy. So, as low as possible without stick drift. So, you'll see if I go to 0 here, I'm not touching the controller, not touching the move thumbstick. We are drifting like crazy. We're literally walking backwards. So, to figure out your lowest possible dead zone, guys, just keep ticking it up until you don't have any more drift. And again, mine is 5.5 if I go to there. We are no longer drifting, not touching the thumbstick. Obviously, we're not going anywhere. Reason you would even want to do that, guys, you want that as low as possible. The dead zone is the area where the stick is not registering any movement. You want this as close as possible to where your stick sits so that the moment you touch the stick, it is registering the movement. You don't want a dead zone bigger than where the stick is resting because essentially that would mean the first tiny press you're making, it's not going to register the movement until you get outside of that dead zone. So basically, you want it as small as possible. It plays a very, very small role in reacting, but if you've played a lot of FPS shooters, guys, you've played millions of hours of Halo, you can actually notice the difference on dead zones and when it is too big. So basically, between max input threshold and center dead zone on your move thumbstick, guys, it can make your strafe more responsive and honestly, just overall going to sprint and things like that. Now, I'm going to get into one other sliding mechanic kind of setting I want to talk about. It's a very simple one, but then I'll tell you guys a little secret about the Xbox Elite Series 2 controller specifically that you can do that for some reason a lot of people didn't know about before Halo. Now, guys, the biggest thing, very easy, I want your slide or crouch button to be as available to you as possible. Personally, I run it on this paddle right here down on my bottom right hand. It's kind of hard to show you, so it's like down here, guys, but bottom right. So basically, I'm pushing it with my ring finger here, my right ring finger, and that is so that if you are trying to hightail it across the map, trying to get around the corner, trying to make people miss bullets, you could slide very easily. And if you don't have a paddle controller, guys, you can play tactical shooting, which means you put it on your right stick. So when you push your right stick in, obviously have it on melee, you can make that slide, and it just makes it so that it is very tricky for the people to hit you. And also, it is easier for you to curb slide off ledges and stuff like that when you're trying to get across the map just that much faster if you know how to time it properly. If you want to know how to power slide better, guys, I'll put it down in the description as well. I've done a how-to on the whole thing. And a way around this, if you do not have paddles and you do not want to play tactical, guys, you may want to look into playing claw. And forgive me, my cord is just completely in the way here. Now, playing claw, you do this a little bit. So you kind of do a little bit of shooting with your middle finger, and then you would use this finger, your pointer finger, to do all the sliding and stuff like that. Very hard to do, very tough skill to master, but a lot of players actually play that way on Halo, shockingly enough. A lot of the pros actually play claw because, guys, back in the day, we didn't all have paddle controllers. They weren't as easy to attain. That actually scared me. And so a lot of people just learned to play claw because it was really big for Halo, obviously being such a jump shooter. You were always jumping and pressing the A button. So people adapted, learned to play claw so that they could use this finger to press it. And the point is so that you don't have to take your finger off your aim stick and you can jump and aim and shoot all at the same time. But personally, I'm a paddle controller boy, so I like that. Now, guys, specifically for the Elite Series 2 players, I know a lot of you, with this being an Xbox game, a lot of you do play on the Xbox Elite controller. There's actually a setting in the Xbox accessory setup. I've done an in-depth video that will also be linked down below, guys, in the description. Feel free to click on it. But basically, there is a preset you can put on your move thumbstick, your left thumbstick, that is called Instant, and it makes the stick respawn that much faster. Basically, the same way the higher max input threshold makes your stick respond, and trust me, guys, that will give you a very, very speedy strafe. Now, for scuffs, for regular Xbox controllers, I'm not sure if it has the technology to be able to do that. I'm sure Scuff has some software that you can do it with, but I'm just really not sure, so I can only speak on the controller that I have experience with, the Xbox Elite. So, frankly, look into that setting, guys. Again, the move thumbstick, go to stick presets, and then set it to instant, or I believe aggressive, a lot of people have told me, is almost just as good for that faster stick reaction time. Again, it'll act as max input threshold and really just give you a faster strafe, and the stick will just respond a lot better, guys. And trust me, if you're playing on an older controller, you're playing on a controller with a lot of stick drift, guys, all of these move thumbstick tips I gave you today will really make it feel that much better if you were not already on that max input threshold of 15 and you're not already on an appropriate dead zone. And then, of course, the B button, guys, I'm willing to bet most of you experienced players already have it in a good area where you are able to already get to the B button easy, but it's just worth bringing up because, again, these are controller settings for movement, not just controller settings for strafing, because I kind of want to just hit everything with one video rather than doing multiple videos on movement. But all right, guys, that does it for this video. Please go check all those links in the description. I promise all of them will help you out with movement and things like that. But that does it for me, guys. Please subscribe to the channel. Halo videos. We're back on the Halo grind. We just hit Onyx this past Saturday. It was actually a pretty lit stream. And then we play a lot of Vanguard ranked and things like that. We'll be on Modern Warfare 2 like a madman once it comes out. But yeah, guys, subscribe to the channel. Leave a like on the video, pretty please. It does help out so much for the channel. And then, of course, leave a comment, guys. If you have any other movement tips, be it controller or just strafing tips in general, please leave them down below in a comment. As always, I'll leave a heart and a like on it. It'll jump to the top so other people can get help from your guys' comments as well as the video overall. And thank you so much for everybody that's been leaving the tips below for other people, because I see a lot of them. You guys leave really good tips, and it's really hard for me to cram everything into like a 10 or so minute video, so I do appreciate that. Finally, guys, channel memberships, $4.99. If you want to support monetarily, but just watching the video is thank you enough for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And stay happy, stay healthy, and stay tuned for the next video.